Sorry, Jonathan. All right, and all right, slide, slide, slide. All right. Now, you're going to slide with the same hand. So right leg, right hand, slide, and slide. So the first one is Parshva. The second, this one now we're working on Parivrita. All right, switch sides. So left hand, left leg, slide. The other arm doesn't need to do anything right now. Yeah, it can sit on your hip. That's a good idea. All right, now first side again. Now we're going to go from Parshva to Parivrita. So first, this is your right leg, this is your left arm. So left arm, right arm, left arm, right arm. Go on the same side. Now switch legs. So right arm, left arm, right arm, left arm. All right, then bring both hands forward and forward. And back up and forward and back up and forward and back up. It's going to be unusual. Come back into downward facing dog. See how that feels. Feel any residual effects of the, it's an opening for me, the sides of the body. It doesn't do a whole lot for the hamstrings for me, but it might help you open your hamstrings. It might help you open the side of your body or your shoulders. And then bend your knees, come down onto all fours. All right. So this is a little odd. It's seen more in exercise classes, but bear with me. So you're going to take one leg out, like bird dog. Sometimes this is called fire hydrant. From the front, it looks like this. And you're going to make circles with your leg. Think of making the circles with your knee, like you're drawing with your knee. Change directions. As much as possible, keep your torso level. So you're not moving your whole body to move your hip. All right, change sides. I don't have enough room to change sides. So lift your leg up And then right with your knee into a circle. Change directions. And lower that leg down. Now this time, I don't know if this will be visible, but think of your knee as drawing a figure eight. So rather than a circle, it's a figure eight. So try that. Then switch sides. All right, put that leg down. Come up into downward facing dog. See if there are any residuals in your hips. So a lot of times I talk about pulling the outer hips in, or if we're in Virabhadrasana 2, for example, Warrior 2, sucking that outer hip in. So hopefully you can feel some activity there. We'll do one more that's similar, but in a different plane, meaning anatomical plane. So come down, and you may want a blanket for your head. We're going to come into Anantasana. So lie on one side, as much in a line as you can. You can rest your head, and you can pull that blanket in to rest your head on your blanket. Isn't that luxurious? Then bend both your knees. This will take the balance portion out of Anantasana. Then lift your top leg up and move it in a circle. So it's the same kind of thing, except now you're on your side. And change directions. You're trying to get the knee as perpendicular to the body as possible without falling over. All right, and then do the figure eight. You might feel your core muscles engaged. All right, change sides. So first, lie in one line. You got this nice luxurious pillow. And then bend both your knees. Lift your top leg up. And make a circle. Change the direction. And then do your figure 8. This would be extra interesting with ankle weights. See if you could change the direction of your figure 8, even though we didn't do that on the other side. It's kind of like eating with your opposite hand or something. All right. Come back up to all fours. Spread your palms. Tuck your toes. Come up into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Feel any activity or warmth in your hips. Walk your hands towards your feet, fold forward, Uttanasana. Straighten your legs, press your feet into the floor. Lift your quadriceps up, lift the backs of your legs up. Place your hands on your hips, elbows to the ceiling. Inhale, come back up. All right, stand Tadasana. So we'll stand for a little while. All right, lift your arms up. Urdhva Hastasana, extend through your fingers. Then turn your right leg out. Lift your right leg up. Now suck your outer left hip in. So remember the work that we just did, that's the area you want to pull in. Lower your right leg down. Turn your left leg out. Lift your left leg up. Suck your outer right hip in. Lower your left leg down. Turn your right leg out. Lift your right leg up. And bring it on the opposite thigh. No hands. Yeah, I saw that, Soko. Release your right leg down. Your arms might be getting tired. Turn your left leg out. Lift your left leg up. Place it on the inner right thigh or wherever it goes. Doesn't go up that high when you don't use your hands. Suck your outer right hip in. My tree's shaking. Lower your foot down, release your arms. All right, we're gonna do Garudasana, the eagle pose. First is the legs. So you can be near a wall if you need it, either to the side or behind you. Bend both your legs. Lift your right leg over and around your left. Squeeze your legs together and suck both outer hips in. Both legs should be bent. And possibly some of you can wrap it all the way around. I can't. When I get that calf removal surgery, then I'll be able to do it. Release that side. Keep your knees bent. Lift your left leg up around your right. Squeeze your legs together, pull your hips in. So even if your leg is out to the side like this, if you use the muscles of your legs to pull them in together. And then release that side, stand up. Now we'll add the arms. Bend your knees. Lift your right leg up, bring it around your left. Squeeze your legs in towards each other so that the foot isn't going out to the side like this. You have to use the muscles of your leg to bring it in. Now it may not go in all the way, but use those muscles to suck everything toward the midline. And that goes for the arms as well. Arms come up, right arm underneath the left. Pressing the arms against each other, pressing the legs against each other. Breathe into the area between your shoulder blades. All right, just a little extra here. Release the feet, release the legs, stand up, keep the arms. Now squat down. And then, so your left arm is closer to you. Move your left arm to the right. Just for a little extra stretch. You don't have to do this weird squat. I'm just doing it so I'm in the camera. And then come back to center. Release your arms. Stand back up. All right, other side. Bend your knees. Take your right leg over your left. Squeeze your legs in. Lift your arms up. Oh, this feels like the same arm. Yep. All right, do the other arm. I did the wrong arm. So I might have told you the wrong way. Oh. Uh-oh. Squeeze your arms together, squeeze your legs together. Ah, I can't look at the class and balance at the same time. Move everything towards the center. And then release your legs, keep your arms crossed. And the one that's closest to you moves to the opposite shoulder. Whatever that is for you. You might feel a stretch along the side of your arm. Okay, release your arm. All right, let's do a few more standing poses that are related to this outer hip in. So we're going to do Trikonasana, Parsvakonasana. Oh, we should do Virabhadrasana too, because I never teach Virabhadrasana too, because I don't like that pose. All right. Bring your hands in front of your chest, take your arms and legs wide. Turn to your right. Take your right arm down. All right. Roll your left thigh out. And when you roll your left thigh out, that allows you to bring your right thigh forward. Forward meaning towards the wide side of your sticky mat. Then broaden across your collarbones, extend your arms away from each other. Rotate your chest towards the ceiling as much as it will go. It won't really go that far. And then when your chest is rotated as far as it will go, take your head back. And then if your neck feels comfortable, look up at your thumb. Then look forward, pressing through the left foot, come up, turn to the left. Take your left hand down. Roll your right thigh out. And from the space of your right thigh moving out, pull your left hip in. So that same outer hip work that we've been working on works here. Rotate your chest. Press your arms away from each other. Then if you're next comfortable with it, take your head back and look up at your thumb. Look forward. Press through your right foot. Inhale, come up. Come back to Tadasana. I hate the fact that you can't see my head. There we go. Bring your hands in front of your chest. Take your arms and legs wide. Turn your right foot out. Bend your right leg. Take your right hand down, take your left hand to your hip. Now, roll your left thigh out. Move your right hip forward. And when you move the right hip forward, you have more space in the hip to rotate your chest towards the ceiling. Once your chest is rotated as much as possible, you can take your left arm over your head. And you can look up towards your left bicep. I need to go down lower. There we go. Then lift your left arm up. Press through your left foot. Inhale, come up. Turn your feet to the other side. Bend your right leg, or your left leg. My right, your left. Bring your your left hand down. I'm getting all confused. Right hand to your hip. All right. So roll your right thigh out. And from the opening that you get here, move your left hip forward. Then rotate your chest as much towards the ceiling as you can. And then once this is open, it's easier to look up to the ceiling. Lift your right arm up, press through your feet, come up. Turn your toes to the front. Come back to Tadasana. Tadasana. Press evenly through your right and left foot. Feel any work that's been going on in your hips. All right, Virabhadrasana 2. Take your arms and legs wide. Turn to your right. Turn your right leg out. Left leg in slightly. Bend your right leg. So here too, now, some people say, or they used to say, that the whole torso, including the abdomen, would face forward. You'd have to have an extreme amount of flexibility for that to happen. But you're still rotating the back thigh out and moving the front hip forward here. So it's just like this, but upright. Then turn your head, look over your front fingertips, your right fingertips. Take your shoulders down away from your ears. Sit down deeply into the lunge. Bigger step, Bob, I think. Then press through your left foot, come up. Turn your legs the other way. Take a breath. Drag your right knee to go directly, left knee to go directly over to your left foot, left ankle. What am I talking about? I don't know. All right. Words, they come out of my mouth. I don't know what they are. All right. Externally rotate your back thigh. So move that away, rotate it out. And then from there, move the bottom hip forward, the left hip forward. And once that's going well, look over your left fingertips. Straighten your left leg. Turn your toes forward. Come back to Tadasana. Must be the cold. All right, take your feet about sticky mat width. Fold forward. Hold on to your opposite elbow if that's okay on your back. If it's not, hold on to your shins. We'll do that one too, Doug. This is just Uttanasana with what? This is a narrower stance, yeah. We got one more pose that works on the same principle of both legs turning out. It's just a little rest in between. All right, place your hands on your hips. Inhale, come up. Ardha Chandrasana. So one more balance pose, and then we'll do something else. Bring your hands in front of your chest. Take your arms and legs wide. Turn your right leg out. Take your right hand out. Utthita Trikonasana. Place your left hand on your hip. Bend your right leg. Step your left leg in. Bring your right hand forward. All right. So when you lift, you can start with a bent knee of the right leg. Roll that left thigh out. Almost as if you were trying to turn the toes to face the ceiling. I don't think they would go. All right. And then from that space that you're making by rotating the top thigh out, move the right thigh and the right hip, especially forward. Then rotate the chest in the same direction. So you're trying to turn the whole body to face, well, for most of you, face the camera. And if you have your balance, lift your left arm up, take your head back, and look at your left arm. Then bring your hand back onto your hip, look forward, bend your right leg, reach back with your left leg. Now you're in this lunge. Take a breath there. Wider feet there, child. Wider. And then straighten your front leg. Utthita Trikonasana. Take a breath. Press through your left heel, come all the way up. Other side. Turn your left leg out. Take your left hand down. Bring your right hand to your hip. Bend your left leg. Step your right leg in. All right. So as you lift your right leg off the floor, rotate that hip out. So the hip does not face the floor. And then from that space you make in the hip, You can straighten your left leg and move the left hip forward towards the camera. For most of you, not more, but you know what I'm talking about. All right. And once that's going well, rotate your chest, extend your right arm, and possibly take your head back and look towards your right thumb. Then take your right hand back on your hip. Bend your left leg, step back, big step. With your right, straighten your left leg. You'd think I hadn't taught in like 3 weeks. Lift your right arm up. Press to the right foot, inhale, come up. Turn the toes forward. Bring both hands on your hips. Prasarya Padottanasana. Inhale, with your exhalation, come forward. Lift your quadriceps. Then walk your hands back. Lower your head. You got blocks nearby. You can rest your head on a block. You can rest your head on the floor. Laura, I think that block's too tall for you. Yeah, maybe medium. Yeah, that's better. All right, walk your hands forward. Forward. Place your hands on your hips. Inhale, come all the way up. Step your feet together. So headstand prep for everybody. You place your elbows directly under your shoulders. Interlock your fingers. Stretch your forearms forward and press your wrist as much as possible into the floor. When you're looking at your hands, there should be space in between your hands. Then tuck your toes underneath and lift your hips up. You can let your head hang for the first one. If you have the hamstring flexibility, you can walk your feet in. But as you walk your feet in, don't let your shoulders come forward. So you have to press into your forearms, keep your shoulders from moving forward. And also, if you have your shoulders moving towards your fingers, it's going to be much, much harder. In fact, you can all try that. Move your weight forward, so there's weight, so your shoulders are coming forward of your wrist, forward of your elbows. It's much harder. Like this. This is easier. Come down. Rest. Change the interlock of your fingers. Check to see if your elbows are directly under your shoulders. Press your wrist into the floor, see if there's space between your hands. Then tuck your toes underneath, lift up. Press your forearms down and forward. That will help you lift your shoulders away from your ears. Also, turn your upper arms out. This will give more space for your neck. We almost always externally rotate in yoga poses. So this is no exception. The upper arms turn out. It's an external rotation. Bend your knees and come down. All right. So the next one, we're going to put our head down and do the same thing. Just walk in, but really press your forearms into the floor to keep your shoulders from collapsing. So if you look for a second, you don't want this. You want this. So the shoulders move away from the wrist. All right, so try that. Yeah, oh, you're more than welcome. Try to get a blanket out. You're more than welcome to put a blanket under your head or fold up your sticky mat. And try, I'd actually put the sticky mat over the blanket so you don't slide. And those, yeah, or some, yeah, a little piece of sticky mat works too. All right, so head on the ground, press your forearms into the ground, walk in, possibly. And then bend your knees, walk back out if you need to, rest in child's pose. All right. So watch the next thing. We'll see how this goes. So, make sure I have enough room. Okay. So I'm in Uttanasana, and I'm going to lift one leg up, and I'm going to bend the other leg, and I'm going to hop this leg forward. So the bottom leg is bent, the top leg is straight. And then I lift my arms up, bring them forward, and then I kick and bring my foot forward. Lift my arms up, bring them forward, kick, and bring my foot forward. Doesn't that look like fun? Try it. What's the worst that could happen? So you're going to use the same leg going in one direction. I'm a little limited on space here. Lift up. And then you'll turn around and use the opposite leg. Yeah? Oh, you could go backwards, Soko, but you could turn around as well and use the opposite leg. Yeah, that's it, Vic. Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to go backwards, Laura. You just forwards. I mean, you could go backwards. I didn't try backwards. Yeah. Really lift that top leg, Chaya, as you're kicking up. So that leg lifts you as much as the kicking leg. Yes, like that. Yes, much better. That's it, Rob. All right. Wasn't that fun? It's something different. So that's a good training for kicking up into handstand. So the other one, if you wanted to make this more difficult, because I know you all want to make it more difficult. Like, Mary, that's just not hard enough. So it's the same thing. Except you switch legs. I'm going to have to try the backwards because two of you went backwards. Okay, backwards also works. So you could try that, or you could do the first one again, now that you've had a little rest. You really have to use the flying leg to lift yourself up. It really teaches you how much you have to kick with that flying leg. The flying leg being the one that's already in the air. That's it. Yeah. All right. That's enough for today. Take a block. I woke up with a sinus headache this morning. I still have one. So the two things I do when I usually have a sinus headache, sometimes it comes from tension in my neck, but is I lie over a block and I get upside down. So I don't usually do headstand, but I do get upside down. So take a block, place it lower tips of your shoulders, and your arms can be in goalpost or cactus, down by your side, or over your head. So start with a short block, and just be there for a few moments. Whoop. And see how that's going. You can have a blanket under your head or a second block. See, Bob, I think I'd like your block a little closer to your head. More where you're tighter. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Okay, I just realized that I was trying to look closer at Bob, and there's this new feature apparently on Zoom. So I have me and Bob as large, and everyone else is small. Well, that's interesting. All right, now if you want to change the height of the block under your shoulders, you can just move it up one, giving you a little more back bend. Make sure your neck and jaw is released. You can stretch your shoulders and stretch your chest. You don't have to lift up on a higher block. You can stay with whatever works. All right, so that was your rest, and your rest is now over. So bend your knees, roll to your side, and come up. So we're going to work on Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. Another one of my, a pose I find very difficult. So I'm going to use blocks. So the first one you can use blocks. Blocks help the short armed, also the tight backed. So, and I'm going to tuck my toes underneath for the first couple. So lie prone and have your wrists either side of your lower ribs, up on blocks or not. Then everyone tuck your toes underneath and lift your legs up. So your quadriceps are engaged. The backs of your legs are engaged. Now look slightly forward and roll your shoulders back like you were going to come up into a cobra. Keep your legs strong. Oh, and by the way, the legs in upward facing dog are hip width apart, not together. All right, keep your shoulders rolled back, press your hands into the ground, and lift yourself up. Roll your shoulders back, move your chest forward, keep your legs lifting. And even here, you can pull your outer hips in. Then bend your elbows, lower down. Take a breath. I'm going to watch this time. So you guys go down. You lay down. I'm going to watch. All right. Tuck your toes underneath. Lift your legs off the floor. So legs are active. Yes. And then roll your shoulders back. Look slightly forward. Now with a great push, lift yourself off the floor. So the only thing on the floor is your toes and your hands. Or the hands are on blocks, yes. Roll your shoulders back. Come up anytime. Please? All right, come back down. Come down. All right, so maybe that doesn't work for you. Like coming up from the ground, because it's a little bit like a push-up. It's a little easier than a push-up, not a whole lot easier. Okay, so let's try it coming from the top. And if you don't, I really like blocks in this pose. If you don't like blocks, if your arms are normal length, then get rid of the blocks. They may not help you. So we're going to come into a plank and move our hips forward. But one of the biggest mistakes in upward facing dog is moving the shoulders forward. So this is not correct. You want your shoulders directly over your wrist, like this. This will hurt after a while. This will hurt after a while too, but not as much. All right, so we're going to come into a plank. And then concentrating on keeping the shoulders directly over the wrist, we'll come into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. So come into plank, and plank is the same rule with the legs. So the legs are engaged, quadriceps lifted, then move your hips forward and down, roll your shoulders back, and see, yes, better. All right. Good. All right, come down. And for the last one, we're going to have the more traditional toes pointing back. So you have a choice here. You could start with your toes pointing back. I don't know how you could do plank. Let's see, maybe you could do plank like that. Okay, it's hard. You could start from the ground, so like this, or you can start from plank, come into upward facing dog, and then point your toes back. So I'm going to let you decide. But in whatever one you decide, your legs need to be strong. All right? So come up into the pose. Yeah, you can start from down dog, you can start from plank. Yes, and then come to flat feet or toes pointing back. Oh, Chaya, that looks so hard. She has very high arches and it makes it very difficult to do this. All right, come down. So for myself and Chaya, let's sit in Virasana. So knees together, feet apart, sitting between your heels, getting used to the feet being flat on the floor. This is hard for me as well. This hurts, but I do it anyway. All right, let's just do something with the arms so we're not just sitting here. Interlock your hands, turn your palms out, lift your arms up. Extend your wrists, descend your hips. Even here, see if you could pull your outer hips in. One way to do that is to isometrically move your knees apart. Bring your hands back down, interlock them behind, roll your shoulders back, lift your arms up. And as you isometrically take your knees apart, isometrically meaning, in case anyone doesn't know, your legs stay in place and you pretend to move your legs apart. See if you can bring your outer shins in. And it'll almost feel like you're lifting up higher. All right, bring your hands forward, change the interlock, turn your arms out, lift them up, turn your hands out. Bring your hands back in and down, change the interlock behind, lift your chest, extend your arms. All right, release your arms, come forward. Downward facing dog. Just something to stretch out the backs of the knees and the ankles. Bending in the opposite direction, going in the opposite direction. All right, and when you feel like you've opened up the backs of your knees, lie on your back for Chaturpadasana. So on your back with your heels close to your hips. Have your fingers, for the first one, have your fingers pointing towards the ceiling. My teacher calls this toy soldier, although I haven't been to one of her classes in ages. All right, so arms and toy soldier, press your upper arms into the floor, roll your shoulders under, and then press your heels into the floor and lift your hips. Now you might be able to roll your shoulders under even more, press your upper arms into the floor more, press your heels into the floor more, and lift your hips higher. At the same time, keep your neck and throat soft. Release any grip in your jaw. So it definitely feels like when you're doing muscular work that your jaw will somehow help. Keep pressing your heels down, lifting your hips up. With your elbows bent, it's just a little easier to access the pressing of the upper arms into the floor. When we straighten the arms and grab the heels or interlock the fingers, it's a little harder to do. All right, and then come down and rest. So for the next one, we're going to interlock our hands behind, which is probably the crowd pleaser of them. So press your upper arms down, roll your shoulders under, lift your hips, interlock your hands behind. And now you're really able to get your shoulders underneath you. So it's closer and closer to shoulder stand, which I won't be doing today. I don't have the props for it. But that would be next if you wanted to do shoulder stand. Press your heels down, lift your hips. Really work the backs of your legs. So it's not just your quads working, your hamstrings and glutes are working too. And then if you're not doing shoulder stand today, you can bring a block and place it under your hips. And then some of you will be able to straighten your legs. Mine don't really straighten, so not without a little height under my feet, so I'm just going to keep them bent. So if you did straighten your legs, roll your thighs inward. Yeah. If you're going up into shoulder stand, that's fine too. Yeah. All right, Bob, see if you can straighten your legs a little more. You're kind of, there we go. Yeah. In whatever position you're in, you want your shoulders underneath you as much as possible. There you go, Doug. I'm somehow managing with 2 blankets.
So where do you put the blanket if you're doing shoulder stand with the blanket?
Okay, so I have 1 blanket. So the blanket goes under your shoulders, but not your head.
Okay.
And the distance is normally about a thumb between your shoulders and the edge of the blanket, because when you roll up, your shoulders roll toward your head. So you need a little bit to come up. Looks good, Doug. All right, we have about 30 more seconds because there's 1 more hip stretch I want to show. So if you want to put your feet in Baddha Konasana, those in bridge, you can try that. It takes some getting used to, Laura, if you haven't used blankets. All right, everyone come down. I know some of you just got there. I think you'll like this next one. I really liked it, and I've probably done it before and I just forgot about it. So I'm going to show it really quick. So you know this is sometimes called figure 4, or I guess I'll wait till everyone gets done. But what else is this called? Anyway, it's a normal hip stretch where you put your ankle on your opposite knee and then you reach behind and you pull your leg in. But we're not going to do that part, but we're going to start with the ankle on the opposite knee, and then you're just going to roll from side to side. So you'll roll one way, and then if you plan ahead, you won't hit the door. You roll the other way, and just roll from side to side. I'll kind of show it at an angle here. So the ankles stay flexed, and the knees stay in the same position. And you'll probably get a better stretch when your foot hits the floor. This is a pretty good stretch on the outer hip for me. And very few things are. So. And then try the other side. Yeah, you can do it in shoulder stand up. That works. That's cool. All right, it's time for Shavasana. So hug both knees in, or you could just put both feet behind your head. That's fine, Bob. That's Yoga Nidra. So, lie on your back. You might want to cover up the last even remotely cold day. Roll your shoulders under. Rest. Soften your neck and throat. Release the skin of your face to the sides. Feel yourself supported by the floor. Deepen your breath. Bend your knees. Roll to your side. Roll a little further to your side and lift yourself back up to seated. Take your arms wide, lift your chest. Bring your palms together in front of your heart. Think of something you're grateful for. Namaste.